Make me laugh. Closing the door. Ladies and gentlemen, today is, what is today? November 11th, 2013. And this is the KNKL Show, number 120. And today is Emma Monday, where we get to work on our beloved comic, Emma-san. With me, your host, Keenan Lafferty. We're going to be jumping right into that, but before, we need to take a stroll down the Emma Lovely Lane, because we got some new submissions coming in from Yasmin, Ozzy, or both of these are Ozzy. Look at just Ozzy's taking over the page right here. But I really, really like this pixel art that he sent in today. Reminds me of, makes me want like an Emma video game, like a good old 8-bit beat-em-up fighting game type thing. And yes, that made my day. So thank you very much, Ozzy, and thank you to everyone who has been submitting their artwork. For those of you who want to submit stuff to the Facebook, please just click the link down below. If you're on YouTube, you can submit your stuff, and I love it. Oh, and also this really, really cool thing that came in from Alicia, and this is a little bit scary, and you're about to find out why. Because today we are going to be having a choose your own adventure. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I put together a bunch of thumbnails for all of us to take a look at, and while I can't say exactly what I'm going to be using this image for, do know that we're going to pick one today, and you guys are going to help me, okay? So, yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at what we got here. And the reason why I said that that image that Alicia sent in was a little bit scary was because it's basically like the same composition as I have right here. And this is actually one of my favorites, but let's go ahead and take a look at the other ones. And let's go ahead and talk about what went into them, as well as I prepared a time lapse that I want to show to you guys because I want you to take a look at my technique and how I create thumbnails. Okay, so these two right here, B and C, these sort of represent a little bit of, it's sort of like a stained glass window effect, or kind of like a shattering effect. And this is something that, again, Alicia has done. A lot of the artists that just draw fan art of this comic, they seriously inspire me and give me like the best ideas, and I love to steal them, right? And like take credit for them as my own. Well, no, I don't quite do that, but I always put their names in the comic when I can. But the point still stands. People have better ideas than me, and I am appreciative of borrowing them. Okay, so anyway, that's what's going on here. We've got Emma. She's sort of like sitting there. She's got like the little halo around her head, and it's kind of like a stained glass thing behind her. And then there's like these zombies and like a fire or something behind it. So that one was kind of fun. I always wanted to do like an Emma stained glass thing. And this was before Alicia sent in that crazy stained glass picture. I was talking with my friend about it just a couple days ago about like, we should make like an Emma stained glass. But that, again, I don't know how stuff like that happens. Next up, we got D with Emma kind of jumping through. This is more of like a shape type of thing. I just made this really quickly, thinking about shapes, thinking about silhouettes. It's like Emma kind of like just like zooming through a bunch of zombies and then their heads. It's very anime. She's like jumped through all these zombies and like their heads are all popped off. So I thought that would be kind of fun. This one's kind of like the splash, you know, the League of Legends splash technique. The posing, right, with the thing like flying at you, swinging the axe at you. And I do like it, but I think I want to do a little bit more refinement on this one before we decide whether or not that's going to get the axe. Okay, so moving on. F. This is another one that I really, really liked a lot. Just because of the composition here, we've got the silhouette of Emma, and then she's sort of facing like this wall of zombies. And I really like how they're kind of curving. It's almost like a tidal wave of zombies like sitting over her. And you'll even notice there's like this big zombie head in the back. And I think the reason why I like this is because it represents two things. It represents kind of like her fear, right, making them appear bigger than they really are. And also it's just like a really cool composition. Like you got this little dude in the front kind of like walking towards her, and this tidal wave of zombies, and you got this big one in the back. I think that could be a really, really cool shot. So I'm really leaning towards F as well. So G. We've got her in this flower patch type thing. Originally, I was going to do kind of like a back version, like a back version of this right here, the Emma stream, how she's standing there. I was just going to do like a pose like that, but from behind. And I realized it was kind of like boring and kind of like overdone. So I was like, okay, well maybe we can like pitch the camera down so we're like looking up at her. And it's like this cool skyline and, you know, maybe some flowers at the bottom to kind of hint, you know, a little bit about what Emma is. Um, H is, again, it's more of a pose. I don't think this one is really going to work, but I just left it in there because I wanted to show my iteration. And I, of course, the comical lopping the zombie head in half at the mouth, right? I think that's really funny when she does that. She lops it, leaves the bottom jaw on and cuts off the top of the head. And I like the action in this one. And again, there would be like zombies and stuff behind her, and she's kind of like engaging this one. And yeah, that's his foot. His foot is up, and that got chopped off too. So anyway, I'm gonna let you guys. I'm gonna let this marinate in your minds. And while you guys decide which ones you like the most, we're gonna take a look at the time lapse. So let's go ahead and get started on that. And you will see very quickly how I put these things together. And I really want to drive this point home, guys, because I feel like a lot of artists, they get so hung up on the fact that they need to create super clean line art and super clean composition and all this stuff right from the get-go. But really, you'll see as I go through this, that's not the case at all. You'll see that I take the chalk brush, which is awesome. I absolutely love the chalk brush. I use it on everything that I do now. And for those of you who are curious about my brushes, that again is in the link down in the YouTube links, a link in the YouTube description. And here I am doing like the jumpy thing. Originally she was going to be like jumping straight out, and I didn't like that at all. So I was like, okay, well maybe, still trying to figure out the body. And I want you guys to pay attention to how I draw the body. Look at how I didn't draw like her waist or her legs. I almost did just like this shape that represents, those things. And the reason why I want you guys to try doing stuff like this, drawing body parts with shapes, is because it saves a lot of time. And I think that you can oftentimes you can just get what you're looking for when you think about the body in terms of silhouette, right? See how I kind of kick this up, like, oh, that's her knee, right? But then her other leg will kind of blend into this other foot back here, and that'll be like the boot. So I'm focused on like the outside edges, the outside silhouettes, because I really believe that, especially when you're doing an action shot, that's the most important thing. So why not just concept it like that? Why not just concept it as a silhouette? And then you can make all the changes, and you can figure out whether it's going to suck or not right from the beginning, and then you save yourself and all of your loved ones a lot of time. So, and again, another thing with composition, see how everything is kind of like stretching and kind of like encroaching on her. See how it's like surrounding her, right? Surrounding Emma. All of the elements in here kind of put her in this little bubble, and it gives us a sense of, Emma versus the world. And I really like stuff like that. I really like just compositions like that. The hero stands against the monsters. So here's the example of Emma. That same pose is just Emma from behind, and I was like, oh, it'll be like a cool silhouette. It'll be really simple, right? And I was like, but it's kind of too simple. It's like it's too boring. It's not cool. It doesn't speak enough about what the comic is. So I was like, okay, well maybe we can pitch the camera down. And you saw how I just took the old drawing, just warped it a little bit, then I added some flowers in there and all that good stuff. Made it nice and pretty, nice and pretty. All right. Yeah, here's another one where I was trying to get she's like swinging the axe, and her arms are like way past her head, right? And it looks really, really funny. I was like, it looks like her neck is like broken back the other way, but just trying stuff out. And yeah, exactly. And these thumbnails, bear in mind that these are taking, I did all of these within about an hour and 15 minutes. So that should give you a good estimate, I guess. If there's, 9 things on here? There's 9 that I can do in an hour and a half or hour 15 minutes. That's like 1 every 10 minutes at least, So don't spend a lot of time, because the worst thing that happens is you spend hours and hours and hours on this thumbnail or on a composition, or you're working on the full canvas. Again, if you do this, we'll find you. I will find you. If you want to create nice compositions, you almost have to like let your creative mind, let the juices flow, let the creative energy just like exit your mind. And the funnier or just the crazier the idea, doesn't matter how stupid it is, or even if it turns out crappy, like the one down here that I didn't like. It doesn't matter if it turns out crappy, because you just need to get it out, right? I feel like sometimes if there's ideas in your head that are not the best, if if you just get them out onto the paper, then that makes room for all the good ones to come out. So, and speaking of that, once I laid this one down, I started really feeling like, oh, okay, you know what? I do like this. I do really like this. And this is something that I could really see being a very central theme to the comic. At first I thought it was going to be kind of a side thing, the whole two worlds that Emma lives in. But the more fan art I've been seeing that you guys are doing, and just the way that you actually physically change Emma, not just her eyes, but her hair is a little bit darker, it's a little bit more spiky, her eyes look like really like feral, and I really like that. I think that's really cool. And originally I thought about, you know, there was some talk about making Emma very kind of feral and kind of wild when she is in this zombie world. But we decided to kind of tone it down, and let's go ahead. That was the end of it right there. We ended up toning it down a little bit because I was like, oh, but you know, we don't have to make it that exaggerated. Let's make it subtle, right? Let's be artsy. Let's be artsy and make it nice and subtle. And then you know what happened? It's kind of like the line was so subtle that some people didn't get it. They're like, wait, is something happening here? Is there like two worlds going on? But I don't know, maybe that's kind of cool. Maybe that's kind of cool that in the beginning of the comic you're not quite sure exactly what's happening, but you know that like subliminally something is going on. I don't know, maybe that's an accident that'll end up working in our favor. And then later on in the comic you can see that there's basically a night and day difference between the two worlds. So I've really been enjoying that so far. Okay guys, so at this time I would like to ask you to please enter the letter that you like the most over in the chat, and I will tally up the votes really quickly after this, and we'll go ahead and start refining. You guys know the ones that I kind of like, but I want to hear what you guys like. And we're going to go ahead and go with that. And while you guys vote, I'm going to go ahead and just keep flapping my gums, talking about just a little bit more of the, really enjoying the differences between the two Emmas. I really feel like there's real split personalities, and this idea of making them very physically different, or just physically different in general, as opposed to just the eyes, is something that I'm really gravitating towards, and I think it's going to become a more prominent piece in the comic. So, okay, you guys are saying A and F. I'm really liking A and F too. Alright, and I. People like I just because it's funny. You just like it because the zombie's getting his foot chopped off, don't you? Yeah. B, it does feel, yeah, some people are saying B feels very spooky. I do like that too. My only question is, like, I like this. I like B. But me personally, I feel like it's not exactly, like it doesn't say exactly what Emma is. I feel like A says exactly what Emma is, and I feel like F says exactly what Emma is too. So these other ones are cool. It's like, yeah, the cool dynamic jumping shot. It's okay, but, you know, what is it? You know, what does that say? What does that say about Emma? Alright guys, 30 more seconds. I'm going to flap my gums, and then we're going to go ahead and choose. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and just tally these up. No, typing F multiple times does not count as multiple votes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. In fact, I'm going to have to make a little tally thing here, because it looks like it's between A and F. Okay. Let's see. F has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so F has 8. And A has 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, guys. F it is! F it is! Well, that sounds almost kind of inappropriate. But, F it. We're just going to run with it. Alright, guys, so you have chosen F. Thank you once again for helping me figure that out. Thank you for choosing the fate of the future of Emma. And actually, you know what? Looking at this piece, I think it's going to work out for the best. And I really like this one too. I mean, I'll probably end up finishing A as well, so don't worry. We'll do something with that. We'll do something with that. But I think for what we want to do, I think F is going to be by far the best. Alrighty. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just copy that. We're going to copy that entire thumbnail. And let's go ahead and group everything up. Let's go ahead and group everything up. Some people are a little bit sad because they're late and they missed the chance to vote, but that's okay. Don't worry. The community made the decision for you. We're going to go ahead and jump into that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and expand this. Expand it to our preferred height. And you may have noticed earlier when the time lapse first got started, I did have a little red box in there. I need to get that again too, because this little red box is very important. It's very important. The placement of it is important for what it's going to be used for. That's about the only hint that you get. Now, I want to make this thing as big as possible. Nice and big. There we go. Alright. So let's go ahead and call that good. Let's save it just in case our computer decides to blue screen on us. We don't like that. We do not like that at all. And let's go ahead and take off that box. Now let's go ahead and lower the opacity. Lower the opacity of the background. And let's do lines. Let's start laying out some actual lines for what we're going to see. And we've been going for about 15 minutes, so we'll do about 10 minutes of drawing, and then we'll go ahead and call it. Okay, so I need to open up our reference sheet for Emma, which is this right here. You've seen it a million times. I'm just going to have this on the other monitor so I can make sure that we size her up properly. And let's go ahead and get into that. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do here is, let's go ahead and bust out the chalk brush. Bust out the chalk brush. And what I'm liking about this already, what I like about this piece already, is just this stance. I like the stance that she has where, like this, she's kind of like leaning into them. Again, it's all about body language. So the fact that most of her weight is on this foot and she's kind of like leaning towards them makes your character look more courageous, right? Like they're ready to face their fears. They're ready to fight it. And I can't say that I was necessarily thinking about that at this point, but if it makes me look good, then yes, I knew exactly what I was doing the whole time. So watch the way that I actually sketch out Emma's body. I don't draw in her legs. I don't draw in really anything. I'm still focusing on shapes. Still focusing on shapes. So I like the general feel of this is nice. And let's see. I'm putting my fingers up to the screen and I'm literally like measuring off of the reference chart and seeing how far down one head is. Looks like one head is like at the thinnest point of her waist. So we're gonna be kind of like that. Okay. Yes, yes. And I want you guys to pay attention specifically to how messy I am. Pay attention to how messy I indeed am when I'm sketching. I start out like this, and then I'll slowly start to refine. And there's actually not going to be a lot of refining necessary here because we're actually going to be seeing the back of Emma, which will be very cool. It'll be very dramatic. Got some nice muscle tone going on there. Emma, you been working out? You been working out? I like it. Let's see, do I want the leg to be like that? I think I want it to be a little bit more like this. Now, also, I think her legs might be a little bit smaller. Might have shortened her legs down. Another head down is about here. No, actually, that's fine. That looks about fine. And her little dress is like that. Have a little band-aid on her leg. Someone's saying wind blowing her hair would be nice. Yes, there is wind blowing. That's why her hair is like that. They're also saying add some sunflowers in there. I think that would be nice too. That would be very nice. I have to figure out exactly how this is gonna work. Oh! Oh, that looks great. I have no idea what I just did, but that looks good. Hey! I think it's just that little shape that I added in right there. That just makes it look like the other side of her face. That makes us happy. Makes us oh so happy. Oh, so happy. Let's go ahead and put it in her little ear there. And another thing I've been noticing is I'm really starting to exaggerate the shark fin. I love the shark fin. I'm sorry, guys. It's going to get progressively bigger and bigger and bigger as the comic goes on. People have said already the style is changing a little bit, so yeah, I'm just starting to have fun with it. You know, it's like what makes Emma Emma. It's like it's the shark fin. The shark fin really makes a big part of her character. Alright, so this axe is also going to be like that. It's good. I don't like how far out this arm is now. Why don't I like that? I don't know why. It needs to be in a little bit more. Bring it in a notch. I actually like how far out the axe is, but not the arm. Hey there! I like it. I like it. I don't like this ear very much, though. This ear is bugging me. It needs to be a little bit more like that. Maybe not. I definitely want an ear there. But how do I make it look right? Yeah, that one looks the best. And look at how I'm just like sculpting, guys. See how I'm like, I draw in the shape, and then I go back in, and then I kind of sculpt the lines to what I want them to look like. So I'll be like, oh, I'll go back in here and kind of shape that a little bit. Not super worried about everything looking perfect right off the bat. In fact, I'm not expecting it to be perfect at all. In fact, if it is perfect, then something's wrong. Something is very wrong. Either I got very lucky, or I'm deluding myself, and I need to take a closer look. Okay. Another thing that I really like to do is add a little bit of value. Values always help a lot too, because again, this is still, as far as I'm concerned, this is still the sketching phase. You know, so there's still a lot of experimentation that can be done. Okay, so here's the ground that she's going to be standing on. She's going to be like right here. And our camera is going to be like level with the ground. So it's going to look really epic. I'll have like something over here. I don't know what that is. Maybe a tree or something. Some background elements. I like that. Looks good. Oh man. All of a sudden I got like a huge migraine headache. I don't know what that is. It's the brain juices. They be flowing. They be flowing, and we be jamming. Speaking of jamming, it is about time for question catapults. But my good brother Deeves came into me. For those of you who have seen the little video clip that we play, I was like, oh, hey, check it out, Deeves. I got this new video clip that plays. And he's like, dude, that's not a catapult. That's a trebuchet. So I've aptly named it Q&A Trebuchet! Please cast your questions over the castle walls like this car, and I will answer them in the chat. Or ask them in the chat. I'll answer them on the air. We're going to go ahead and finish up today. We're going to take the last 5 minutes, do that, and then we're going to finish up. Alright, I'm going to adjust the spacing on this thing really quickly, because it does lag a little bit. My poor compy can't handle it. My poor little compy. And it consequently makes everything look a little crappier, but it's fine. It's fine for now. Okay, so check this out. I'm going to put in a little bit of like a cast shadow too. See, so like the shadow coming off of her feet is like coming towards us. Makes it look really awesome. In fact, I'll do it more like this. Yeah! Yeah, buddy! And then I'm going to go in here and sketch this guy out. See, that just looks like, ugh. Not too good. Not too good. That's why I need a whole new rig, so my stream don't lag. Questions coming in? Someone 0956 is saying, have the axe go more towards the viewer, so it feels like she's anticipating the attack. Ooh, I actually do like that. I wonder if we could do something like that. I'm going to try it. May not be able to replicate exactly what you're looking for on the air, but let's try it. Oh, yeah, kind of like in the... We had it a little bit more that way in the original thumbnail. It's good to go back and check those things. It's good to go back and check. Check it out. Okay. Okay, so yeah, let's try something a little bit more like this. Like we can see the other end of the axe. Kind of like that. Yeah, I think that looks a little bit better, actually. Seeing the other end of that axe. Yeah, that looks really cool, actually. I like that. Thank you, someone, 0956. I wish I had your real name, because then I would tell you I loved you. But I don't, so unfortunately, we'll just have to wait. Next question coming in. Tips on drawing animals. TAC 1997. Tips on drawing animals. That is a good question. In fact, we have never done a tutorial on drawing animals that I can remember. Maybe that'll have to be a tutorial for later. I don't draw a lot of animals personally, but I think they're very, very fun to draw, like very fun to study, just like their anatomy and like facial structure, especially dogs. I love dogs. So yeah, we should definitely have a tutorial on drawing precious critters. Precious creatures. And last question coming in from Too Refined. Any beginner tips for getting proportions correct while sketching? Yes, Too Refined. I like that name too. For proportions while sketching, the best thing that I can say is, again, I think a lot of people worry too much about getting proportions right. I think that a big part of being the artist that I am and the artist that I want you guys to be out there is to be okay with not getting the exact proportions right in the beginning. Right? Like say you want to draw a person. Like I don't want you to draw what's necessarily right. I want you to draw what feels good. You know, like I can draw a person with this shape here. Obviously this is a very shapely woman, right? And then her legs can kind of come up like that. So don't worry so much about proportion, like, oh, okay, well this is a head, and one head down, that should be the chest, and then another one, you know, down like that. It's like don't worry so much about that right off the bat. If you want to study proportions and stuff like that, do figure drawing. Do stuff like that. Do realistic, you know, figure drawing. And that will help you out with drawing figures and getting proportions right. But really the biggest thing that I watch out for is I just compare everything to the head. And I've learned that, you know, one head down is like exactly where the chest is, you know, and then another one down is kind of where I think the belly button or something is. Yeah, I think it's the belly button. So just do things like that, and then you'll learn really, really quickly. And sketch with shapes, sketch messy, don't worry about everything being perfect, and you will live long and prosper. Alrighty, people, we're going to go and end today's show. Thank you for joining me live on Twitch as usual. I do not have epic outro music up, so I'm going to inconspicuously load that up whilst I continue thanking you. I do have a special announcement coming up this week. I'm super excited, super jazzed to show you guys what that's all about. In fact, that's what we're making this picture for. It is for that announcement. And I can't wait to tell you guys what it is. I can barely contain myself. But yes, all things in good time, ladies and gentlemen. All things in good time. Until then, you guys take a good care of yourself tonight on Monday, and I'll see you tomorrow for Tutorial Tuesday. Got a great tutorial planned for you. Till then, you guys take care. See ya.